Hey guys, welcome back to RIGH Tech channel, and on this video we're just going to take a look at how we can install Flutter onto our computer. And this is going to be from the absolute beginners level. Downloading the required files, the required softwares you need to get, installing them, linking them, doing all that kind of stuff on Windows. And that is what we're going to do for this video, because people have been asking me how you can install Flutter on a computer, step-by-step procedure, and this video is for you if only you are willing to install Flutter and start coding with Flutter and that. So enough of the talking. Before we get started, if you have yet not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you won't be missing any upcoming episode or whatsoever. Well, so first thing first, we just have to head over to flutter.dev. Yes, so you go to flutter.dev and you just have to make sure you go to get started. This is very important. From here, this is where we want to download a Flutter SDK, right? So you can choose within your operating system. It is available for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Chrome OS, right? So in this video we're just going to go in for the Windows. So just click on the Windows and it's just going to tell you the system requirements, and that is very important. So it is required for the operating system, is required Windows 10 or later. That is from 64-bit operating system and 86 based, right? And the disk space required is 1.64 gigabyte. Does not include disk space for IDE tools. This really means when you are installing IDE tools like Android Studio, Visual Studio Codes, they are not included. So you just have to make sure, take good note of that. We have the tools depends on the Flutter environment, which is the variable environment. We're going to do that, and then PowerShell as well. If you want to download PowerShell, just going to do that, and Gates for Windows. So first thing first, just have to click on this Flutter Windows 3.3.0 3.3.10 stable. Just click on that and download it. Now I have already done the download process and I have it inside my downloads here. You can see Flutter Windows here. Perfect. So I have this Flutter Windows 3.0. Yeah. So the next thing I'm gonna do is just click on Gates for Windows, and I'm just gonna download the Gates for Windows. So just click here to download, or if you want to do it for something like 64-bit or 32-bit, it depends on the operating system you are using, right? Sure. So when the Gates is done installation, when the installation process is done, this is first thing we need to get. So you just have to click on this, then it's just gonna pop up the install process for you, right? So you just simply have to follow the instructions given to you here. Just click on next, and you will be done with this. So just click on next, and you are good to go. Whilst this is installing, we're just going to go to the PowerShell. You can either use the PowerShell or use any of them to work along with it. That is actually going to work fine. All right, good. Done. So since your Git is being installed, just untick this. So you can view release notes and all that, but we don't want to do that. The next thing we're gonna do is actually try and play along with the SDK we downloaded from flutter.dev. That is this guy. So what I'm gonna do basically is just right click and say extract all, and I want to choose a directory where I want to extract this to. So in my case, I'll just go to the C drive. From the C drive here, I'm just going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this SRC like this. And inside this SRC, that is where I want to put all my Flutter SDKs in there files. So I'm just going to go back to my extraction, then I just locate myself to that path into the SRC, just click on select folder and click on extract, and this is actually going to show extraction. It's going to show the extracted files when done, right? Sure. So from here you can see the extraction process have started and it will be done in no time. So extraction almost done and we are good to go. Sure. So any moment from now, then we have our extracted files. So you can see here it is actually extracting everything from the Flutter SDK. I mean, extracting every little file from the Flutter SDK into our SRC, and this is it. So inside our SRC, we have a folder called Flutter, and that is where it contains all the Flutter SDK files. This is really interesting and really important. So how can we start working out with this? Basically, it's very simple. Before we can get access to this, Flutter is really messing up because we can't redirect ourselves to the Flutter directly here, right? So I can simply say cmd, then I just redirect myself into the Flutter directory, then I can say flutter dash version, and you see it's not really responding. So that is where the environment comes in. So before we can run our Flutter command inside our cmd here, we basically have to add it up to our environment. So what are you gonna do from here is actually go to start, then type env here, then click on this edit environment variables for your account. So we have this variable that is user variable and system variables. Basically we're just going to work on the user variable. So just click on path, click on edit, then here this is where you're gonna add your your path, right? So just gonna click on new, and there you go, you have this space here. So just gonna go here inside your SRC Flutter folder, then go inside the bin folder, then let's copy this path, copy that, come here, click on new, and just paste it right here. Click on OK to save the path to this. That is really good. Click on OK, and now you can just say Flutter dash version. Oh, sorry. You can just say Flutter. Oh, come on. Let's just restart this. So I'm just gonna go in for cmd. Then I say Flutter Doctor. Now you can see Flutter Doctor is actually gonna search within the directory of the user's environment, because you know we are fetching from the users here, and the user is ADUAM, and we are searching for Flutter Doctor. We are not directly opening it up here, we are not running it up here because of the environment. The environment is going to help us to open or get access to the SDK anywhere on our computer. So that is how the Flutter really works. So whilst the Flutter is actually working on, we will go ahead and then do the other needs. Sure. Right, so there are some things we have to looks like there are some things we have to install right now so we can get this up and running. So you just have to download Android toolchain developer blah blah blah. So this is actually telling you to download Android Studio. So we download Android Studio, then we install it, and also make sure you have Google Chrome installed on your computer. And yeah, you see, so Android Studio is not installed. Yeah, so we're just gonna download Android Studio, then we install, then we check out the Visual Studio for develop for web, or develop for Windows platform. So let's work with the Android Studio. So we're just gonna go back, then go to download Android Studio, just like this. and just go to the first link, not any other link, just the first link. And this is going to redirect you to Android Studio. It's going to direct you to Android Studio's official website. Then just gonna go down, or you can really read through. It's a very good thing for you to do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say download. Then you come down, just accept the terms and conditions. Then you just click download Android Studio here for Windows. Just click on that, and this is actually going to download it for you, right? So let's check the status. So this is it. I'll be back when it is done. But before we do that, let's go and download VS Code as well. So I'm just going to say download VS Code, and that is the first link we have here. So just going to download it for your operating system. So I'm just going to click on Windows, and that is actually going to download it for me. So now I have two files downloading here. I will be back when they are done. Sure, download process is almost done and we are good to go. Now I'm just going to go inside my download folder. Then I just make sure I have everything here. The first thing I'm just going to install is the Android Studio. So just double click on that, and that is actually going to allow you to install Android Studio onto your computer. Yes. Just go ahead and then accept it and click on next. Just click on next and just wait for it to install. So whilst this is installing, I'm just going to go here, and in the Visual Studio Code, I'm just going to double click on that to install that as well. Yes. This also simply follow the instructions. Click on next. You can really create a desktop shortcut. You can add open with code, action, Windows File Explorer, and I mean a lot of things. So I'm just gonna click on next and click on install, and this is actually going to install Visual Studio Code onto your computer as well. So this is the Android Studio Code is done. So just gonna click on next and start Android Studio for the first time. And whilst Visual Studio Code is also loading, just wait for it to complete and then click on finish. That one also will launch Android Studio, Visual Studio Code for the first time for you. Perfect. But with the Android Studio Code, let's close the Visual Studio Code for now. Now, with the Android Studio Code, you simply just have to click on do not import settings, then click on OK. And this is actually going to load and allow you to download all the SDKs you need to download. So I'm just going to say don't send, then I click on next, then I use the standard and I click on next. Now you can choose within the theme you need. I need the Dracula, so I click on next. And here is the most important thing. Please make sure your computer has enough internet access and let it download. Just give it a maximum time for it to complete the download process by itself. So you just have to click on next, and you just have to accept the license. So just click on accept, click on this, click on accept, then click on finish. And this is actually going to download everything you need to get started with Android Studio. Yes, you heard me right. So so Android Studio is done installing. Please remember, this depends on your internet speed. It really depends on how fast your internet is. So you just have to click on finish after you are done, and this is where you will land. Now you can see we don't have any Flutter we don't have any Flutter option here to create a Flutter project. So what we're going to do is just go to plugins, and from the plugin section we're just gonna add Flutter. Just search for Flutter, then just click on install, and this is going to install third party. It's just going to install the Flutter and Dart as well. So it requires that language to be added to your Flutter SDK plugin you are installing. So whilst this is done, just have to restart the IDE. So just click on Restart IDE, Restart. Let's wait for it to restart, and you will see that now we will get a Flutter option just to say New Flutter app. So that is how we install Android Studio. We install Android Studio on our computer. But when we come here, let's just say Flutter Doctor again. Let's see the other things we have to do. Now you see Android Studio is being installed here, but unable to find bundled Java version. So that one too, we have to solve it. And also with the Android tool, it says command line tool is missing, so we just have to run this in that for it to work. But don't worry, we'll get that fixed. So let's go to more options, then we go to SDK manager. This is really important. So let's go to SDK manager here, and we have this command line to just tick on that, tick it, just tick it, and that is what we need here. So just have to click on apply, okay, and just install it. Just let it install. It's just gonna take some couple of minutes, then it gets it installed on your computer. Sure, so it is done. So just click on finish, then click on OK. Now let's come back and let's just run Flutter Doctor again, and let's see the errors we have here. Now you can see we have no Java development kits JDK found. You must have the environment variable set home Java home, set the home Java in your path, and it actually gives you a link where you can download Java. So let's do that. Just copy this, copy that, come to your browser. Now just have to paste the link it gave you, and it will redirect you here. So this is where we need a Java. So this is actually for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So just click on the Windows, and we're just going to go in for 64-bit operating system, right? So just click on this, and there you go, it is downloading. So I'm just going to go here to my show downloads, and basically you can see it is actually downloading here. It is very important because without that your Android tool chain is not going to really work fine. It's not going to function well. Yes, and you can see unable to find bundled Java version here. So it is really important to install JDK on your computer. So how do we fix this? We're just going to do that in no time. So whilst we have this downloaded, let's quickly go into our downloads folder, then let's install JDK. This, just double click and install it on your computer, and you are good to go. Simply accept it, then follow the follow the options. So follow the instructions just to get it working, right? So simple as that. Just click on next, and just wait for the status to install. And remember, it was really telling us something right here, and it says you must have it inside your environment variable Java home set, right? So we just have to have it in our path, and we will be doing that, right? Okay, so just gonna click on close since it's done. And when I go to the C program files, you can see I have Java here, right? JDK. So I'm gonna go inside the bin, and I'm just gonna copy this. Then I go to the env again, edit system environment variables. Then I just go to environment variables. Now you can see here there is no Java home here, and here too there is no Java home. So I'm just gonna click on new. Then I'm just gonna set a variable to Java underscore home. like this. Then I paste the path I copied just like this. Then I click on OK. So I have the Java home right here, just as this path is actually telling us, and it says it should be in environment variables, right? So this is the variable and we are good to go, right guys? Okay, so just click on OK, and now let's just run it again to see the error we have here. Okay, so it's actually telling us no Java SDK, blah blah blah. Let's just restart the CMD. Then let's say Flutter Doctor. Okay, so this is what it is telling us. It cannot execute program files, Java, JDK, bin, Java determine on the version, right? So we just have to fix this. This is really important. We just have to fix this. Sure. So on how to solve this particular problem is very simple. So we just have to go back to the environment and click on environment variables, and from here, you remember we set it up here. So I'm just going to delete it from here. Then we come down here, just click on new like this. Then we say Java home like this, and we set a path here. So I'm just going to go to browse. It's not going to be a file, but it's going to be a directory, and I'm just going to go to my Dix PC program files Java. Then I just click on this. Don't go inside the bin folder, just click on this. So this is the path we need. Click on OK. So we have the Java home here, and the last thing we want to do actually is just click on the path here. Click on this path, click on edit, and just gonna click on new. So from here we're just gonna add Java underscore home %, then we specify with a bin. Or is this guy? Yeah, just like this. Yeah, so after you are done, just click on OK. Click on OK. Try to restart the CMD again. Then let's run Flutter Doctor. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Okay, so now the Android Studio the Android toolchain is being fixed, but it says some Android licenses are not being accepted. How can we do that? To resolve this, we just have to run this, right? So I'm just going to say Flutter Doctor -- Android -- licenses, just like this, and that is gonna ask you to agree to some license. Just say yes by adding one Y, enter, just accept it. Okay, so whilst we are done, we're just going to run Flutter Doctor again to see the next problem we have to fix. So this is how we actually install Visual Studio and we actually install Flutter the right way on our computer. So whilst we have this, you can see the last step is going to be the Visual Studio that is developed for Windows, and we need to download it from this website. And this is necessary for Windows development. If you want to develop for Windows, that is where you're going to do that. But if you don't want to build it for Windows, that is where the problem, you don't want to worry about this. But we actually have another problem here. It says unable to find bundle Java version, and this is another problem we have to fix altogether, so you can get to know more about these types of errors. Now, well, solving this particular error here has different way of solving this. So let's do the first troubleshoot, right? Let's just do the first troubleshoot. So the first troubleshoot is actually go to my computer like this, then go to C drive, go to program files, go to Android here, And inside here we have a folder called JBR. Go in there, copy every content in there. Just click on this copy, go back, go to JRE here, then you just have to paste it right here. Just paste it. Yeah, and it's gonna take a while, so just gonna take your time. Yeah, so it is. Yeah, so once we are done with this, let's just go back here and run Flutter Doctor. Okay, so since our problem is solved, now we have to download and install this desktop development with C++. This is workload, including all of its default components. And how you can get this is actually go to this website, that is visualstudio.microsoft.com/downloads. So just gonna go there. So I'm just gonna go to yeah, here, then I just paste it right here. Yeah, then you're just gonna download, you know, the latest Visual Studio. Just have to download that, right? You just have to download according to the version you are using, and this is basically for Windows computers. So you just have to go either in professional, either in a community. So I'm just going to go in for the professional, and it will just download it right here for me. And there you go. You see we have Visual Studio, so you basically have to launch it. I have already downloaded all the pack files, so when you just double click on the launcher, it's going to work the same thing. So I'm going to take you through the procedure on how to do this. So since we want to do this, let's go to our downloads folder, back to our downloads, and let's just double click on this Visual Studio setup. But you just have to make sure you know the error, because we're not going to install the whole Visual Studio, but we're just going to install the particular error we want to solve. So let's go back here, and it is actually telling us to just clear oh, okay, no problem. So we just have to install this desktop development with C++, right? So we just have to do that. So I'm just going to go here, just wait for it to load. Sure, so you just have to go here. We have the .NET desktop development, and then we have the desktop development with C++. So this is what we need. So just click on this and make sure all these files are included. I mean, just make sure they are included, and the total space required is 9.47 gig. So just have to make sure it is done. Just click on install, and this is actually going to install the whole thing onto your computer. It's going to take a while, for some time. Yes, just take this so it doesn't start. It's just going to download some files, you know, depending on the file size or depending on the speed of your internet. It's just going to download some files, and you're just going to use that. Yeah, right. So you just have to wait for it to complete the download process, and it will install all the packages it has to install for your project to get going. And this is really taking a while, but you should be able to give it some ample of time for it to complete. That will really make your projects, make your installation process fully completed. Yes. So the installation process is down now. So I'm just gonna click on OK, and I'll just go here, close, then I run CMD again. Then I say Flutter Doctor for the last time. Let's see the error we will get, if there is any error. Right, so it seems we have successfully installed Flutter on our computer successfully, but we have to run this. So come here. Now we can create a new project, but before we do that, just gonna go to action, then I add a virtual device. Virtual device, just click on create virtual device, and you can choose within any of these, any of these you want. So I want a Pixel 2. This is how it's going to be like. So I'm just going to click on next, and you can download any of these guys. Yeah, so I'm just going to go in for the R, just the default one. So just click on this. It's just going to start a download process, and it's just going to download the required SDKs for for the emulator you want to use. It's just going to download the Google Play Intel 86 Atom system images onto your computer, and you will be good to go. So just have to wait for it to get done. Then you unzip it. It's actually gonna unzip it by itself. Then you just click on finish. Now click on this R, then you click on next. Here you can choose within the device you want to choose. Just give it a name and click on finish, and that will be all. So you can easily click on this start, and it's actually going to start the emulation. It's going to start the AVD, the emulator, for you to see how it actually looks like. I'm done with this, so I'm just going to close this. I'm done with this. I'm just going to close this and close this as well. So I have only my Visual Studio opened up here, and I'm actually waiting for the emulator to get started. So there you go. I have my emulator opened up here, and as you can see, very interesting emulator. Voila, there we go. So we have our Android emulator up and running. Now we can close this. You can click on new Flutter project like that, and just gonna set a project name. So I'm just gonna say first project. There you go. And I'm just gonna yeah, it's gonna use is it gonna be IntelliJ or Gradle? Just leave it by the default. Oh no, just select Flutter and then just select your SDK path. So you just have to go here, go to your CSRC, then click on the Flutter folder, click on OK. There you go. So you click on next. It's just gonna fetch for it. Now you're just gonna say first project, and or just click on create, and that is actually going to create my first Flutter project in Android Studio for me. Right, so you have your first Flutter project created, and this is it. You have your lib file, your lib folder with your main.dat, and everything right here is really working fine. So if you really want to launch, or if you really want to run this on your emulator, you simply have to make sure your emulator is up and running. Then you just have to select your device here. You can see it is actually loading. Just give it some time for it to do all the required information, just to get all the required information it needs to get. When it's done, you see the device will be detected here. As you can see, it is being detected, so just wait for it to finish. Then you click on this little play guy button here for it to start up your dummy project. So basically that is how it actually looks like, right? Basically that is how it actually looks like. So let's go ahead and then run our first project. For the first time, it's just going to take a while, but just let it load and let it do all the background works and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to close it or do anything or whatsoever. Let it work. Let it run all the Gradle task and all that. When it's done, it's just gonna load up right here. So finally your project is done, and you have your first Flutter application running on your virtual emulator, and you are good to go. This is very interesting. Indeed, it was a very long video, but remember, this is the right way to install Flutter on your computer. Step by step, solving any error we face all together, and I believe it's a great show. Okay, so if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ike Tech channel, so that you won't be missing any upcoming episodes, any upcoming tutorials, lessons, or whatsoever. Yes, and also leave the comment below the section if you have any question, if you find any challenges within this, then we sort it all together. Until then, have a nice day, and Isoft Original is out. Thank you. Bye.